What's going on YouTube? Welcome back to Scents of South Jersey with me, Kellen, for another fragrance video. So I have a video for you guys today that I'm really basing on some of the comments that I've gotten. And over the years, I've gotten this comment a couple times, but there's been a big increase in it recently where viewers, subscribers such as yourself have asked, hey, you know what, I'm just getting into classic fragrances, or I'm about to buy a few of these. Which one do you think I should get? You know, is this better than this, etc. Basically, like, they may not be is familiar with classics, and what this video is going to be about is I've picked 12 fragrances that are great starting points for starting a classic fragrance journey or collection. So these are going to be broken down into 3 parts. We have 4 inexpensive, cheap ones that are great, 4 designer classics, and then 4 niche level classics. So depending on how much money you want to spend, what types of fragrance brands you're in, etc., where you want to begin. If you want to begin with the inexpensive, doesn't mean that they're poor quality, but just inexpensive ones, or vice versa. You get my point. These are going to give you, 3 different brackets of starting points to how to start a classic fragrance journey. Before we jump into the video, if it is your first time here, go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you'd like to do so, if you enjoy the type of fragrance content that I create. We're moving up, and I have some new videos that are going to be coming out to keep the content flowing. If you have an Instagram, go ahead and check out the Scents of South Jersey Instagram page for news and updates on the channel, photos of fragrances from my collection, daily scent of the day posts, and of course, when the next video is going to drop. If you are interested in purchasing fragrances directly from my collection, I have my Mercari page link in the description below. Again, these are fragrances that I'm just no longer wearing, that I'd rather someone else enjoy. That way it makes room for new fragrances for me, more content, etc. If you're interested in the Marcus Aurelius Apparel fitness shirts, the link for those are in the description, along with the Masudo button-down shirts. Again, shirts with patterns such as this. This isn't a Masudo shirt, but you get the point. The link is in the description. They're great. It's 40% off the retail. One of my favorite clothing brands. Definitely check it out. But anyway, let's not waste any more time. Let's jump into these 12 great classic starter fragrances. Okay, so the first fragrance on the list, we're going to start with the inexpensive ones. Those will be the first 4. And this is one that is from the 80s. It's from the house of Alfred Sung. And again, some people might consider these to be designer, but let's face it, they're inexpensive. They're cheap fragrances. And this is Sung Om. I picked this one because of, the composition of this fragrance. It is, I'm just going to get some in the air, extremely soapy, extremely clean. It's masculine, it's long lasting, it's musky. This is a little bit of an older bottle because it's got that built-in sprayer. The current one, I think the cap just kind of comes right off. Either one is fine. I actually had that one first, finished the bottle, and then ended up getting one of these. But Sung Om is, if you can think of the smell of Irish Spring soap, slightly muskier, slightly spicier. If you like that clean, just, I wouldn't even say generic, but distinct scent from a specific type of soap, you'll really love this. It's just going to be spicier. It lasts long, especially on clothes. I don't think it's super offensive or super, daring or anything like that, but it's a great starting point, and it's, God, I think maybe from $10 to $15 for this bottle. It smells so good. Sung Om is one of the best soapy, inexpensive classic fragrances out there. I love the soapy smell. It's an aromatic fougere, which is, you're going to see a trend with that with these fragrances. Obviously, you see a trend with that on my channel too. But Sung Om is definitely one to pick up if you're just starting out, and you can get a feel for, hey, do you like soapy fragrances, or do you like, things that are greener, etc. But definitely check this one out. It's Sung Om. Okay, up next, we're going to get one from the designer realm. So you have seen this one around. It's been around forever. It started in the 70s, but I think it has become most famous in the 80s, and you probably can guess it's the golden green beast. It is Ralph Lauren's Polo, or Polo for Men, Polo Green. This is a vintage bottle. If you're just starting out, I would say just go ahead and get the current formulation. What's going to be the biggest difference is that opening. The opening in this one is, I think, significantly better. It doesn't have the smell of like barn hay where the current one has that. But the dry downs, I think, are relatively on par. Some people might disagree, but I think the biggest difference is in the opening. But it's green, pine, tobacco, woods. This one is very strong. but it's definitely one that you've smelled before. And as far as a starting point for classics, I mean, this is like, some people might consider this the epiphany or epicenter of classics when they think of it, you know what I mean, especially from a designer standpoint too. So Polo Green is definitely just, it's that fragrance. You have to have it in your collection. And if you're thinking about getting into classics, try this one, see how it is for you. And if you like it, get a bottle. I'm sure if you like this one, you're gonna like so many different ones. Okay, up next is going to be a fragrance from the niche section. This one, it started it all for me, really. This is Acqua di Parma Colonia 2. So it's a crisp, citrus, musky, barbershop Italian cologne. Like, if you don't like the smell of this, man, I don't know what's wrong with you, but I love this fragrance. Not a huge performer, you know, but this is the one, it sort of changed the way I looked at cologne, especially because they have every body line matching product accessory you could think of, and you guys know that I like to layer and enjoy, you know, getting the body line collections for a lot of the fragrances. But Acqua di Parma, it's crisp, it's clean, fresh. You got a little bit of citrus rind in there, but it's also musky. That's, I think, which reminds me of a barbershop. Great fragrance starting out, and this will really get you into some of the classic style citrus aromatics. Acqua di Parma is a niche brand. They only make fragrances, but they're not ridiculously expensive. You can get them at discounters for under $100. This is a 100 ml of the original, the Colonia line. They have different lines. The Colonia line's my favorite. This one and Colonia Club, I think, are the two that you should check out, but the original always has been my favorite and will always be in my fragrance collection, because this is what really got me into it, and then it launched this whole interest in the whole fragrance hobby itself. Okay, fragrance number 4, back to the cheap section. It wouldn't be a classic fragrance list without Drakkar Noir, the ultimate aromatic fougere. Not the ultimate, but one of the most famous ones ever. Lavender, moss, soapy, you know, deodorant spray. You know, this one, you know, it's probably going to remind you of some scenario, some person in your life that has worn this before. I love Drakkar Noir, and you can get it for such a good deal. And again, if you like this type of fougere, there's so many other things that you can explore and that you'll enjoy and really like. The performance is okay, but again, that's not the point. Just spray a lot of it. You can spray as much as you want because it's super inexpensive. It's one of the best barbershop fragrances for the money. You can't beat it. It's got such a distinct smell. You know, the opening, you get the lavender burst, and then, you know, it dries down to this, like, it's you know, there's so many other fragrances that people go, oh, that smells like Drakkar Noir, or that Drakkar Noir DNA's in there, and it's because it's the, you know, one of the biggest, most famous aromatic fougeres ever. 80s fragrance. If you can get an older bottle, the performance may be better. I have had mixed experiences with that, where it's like, I think it's the same. I think the current one's just fine, and I think you can go get a big bottle for inexpensive and just spray a ton of it on there. But as it dries down, it's green, it's a little mossy, but it's mainly that like deodorant spray fresh, almost like fresh locker room. It's clean, but it's also masculine. There's no shower gel type of smell with that at all. This is a different type of clean, so definitely check it out for the money. It's one of the best buys you can get if you like classic aromatic fougeres, and especially if you're just starting out. All right, fragrance number 5. This is going to be probably the most daring in the entire list if you're just starting out. But I feel like when you're just starting out, and if you're going to buy a designer fragrance and you want it to be a classic, and you really want to try and get a feel for what some of these powerhouses really smell like, but you like something clean, and maybe you've had experience with niche and you want something dirty, but you want a classic, the king. Kouros by Yves Saint Laurent is a powerhouse. It is a very hard fragrance to describe. There's so many notes. I think you can wear it all year round. It smells fantastic in the air. It's floral, soapy, but dirty, musky at the same time. It lasts a ridiculously long time. This is a vintage bottle from the 90s. You can tell because it has the silver decor there, or the silver shoulders. And let's see, it says Parfum Core. It's a tester bottle. I've had this one for a little while. You can see the fill levels like right around there, because you literally need like 1 or 2 sprays and it fills a room. So if you end up getting a current version, that's totally fine. I think at this point in day and age and how fragrances are, that's probably even more wearable, more easier to wear. I'd hate for you to get a vintage and then not like it because it's too powerful, which may be possible if you're just starting out. But this was a bold one. This is one that, like, if you're going to get it, just dive in and wear it and you'll grow to like it unless you absolutely hate it right away. But it's a little risky, but I wanted to put it in here because of how much I've enjoyed it over the years, and I feel like many other people, they just need to try it and smell. Like I haven't even sprayed it, and I can smell it from this bottle. It's so distinct, and it's again, clean, fresh, and dirty and musky all at the same time. It's a very hard fragrance to describe, but absolutely a classic from the designer realm, and a great starting point for classic fragrance journey. Okay, so fragrance number 6. This is now another niche fragrance. So, we've talked about Drakkar Noir, and if you are someone that, maybe you've smelled that, but you are now getting into fragrances that are green fougères, but you want something higher end, right? And I was going to include Houbigant's Duc de Revant, but I thought that one isn't as good as this one. And this is Rogue Parfumerie Manuel Cross's Bon Monsieur. This stuff is deep, it's green, very mossy, resinous, but it smells fantastic, especially in the air. Woods, green, fougère, real oak moss. A little bit on the pricier side, but again, this is for someone that's looking for that niche fougère that maybe misses something like Gucci Nobile, but doesn't want to spend $600 on that. You can get this one, I think, for around $150. This bottle, I've had it now for about a little over 2 years. I'm almost done with it, but it smells so good. Great alternative for Gucci Nobile, but it's that classic green fougère, but turned up a notch because of the increase in the ingredient level, I'm guessing, or the note breakdown. But it smells so green, so fresh. Spray some in the air. It's gonna envelop this room. It's gonna smell nothing but this. That's why I didn't spray Koros. But and it's such a distinct smell, and it takes the Drakkar Noir DNA, and again, it really amps it up too. So it doesn't have much of the deodorant spray smell that Drakkar Noir has, but you jack up that oak moss scent, and it's just greener, woodsier, but still a classic masculine fougère style. That's modern scent, but from the era, like it reminds me of all those 80s fougères. So great starting point if you're looking for a niche classic style fragrance. All right, fragrance number 7, back to the cheap section, but again, that doesn't mean poor quality. You guys know I love this one. It's from the house of Cerruti. It's 1881 Cerruti for men. Speaking about green, fresh, citrus, but mossy, this is a little bit an older bottle, but again, any formulation is fine. This stuff smells so good. You just get a waft of it. It's super clean, super refreshing, super distinct. All the different notes in there, and I've taken a look at it in a while, exactly what's in there to break down. I do have an individual review on this and many of the other ones I've mentioned, but this scent is one of the ones that you can have for maybe $20, $30 max, and it smells so good. The green in there, it's some sharp pine. I'm sure there's some rosemary, and then of course the citrus top notes too. So it's fresher, lighter, really good for spring. A great base for starting a fragrance collection in the classic sense, or just to get an idea of what the classics were like for not spending a lot of money. But if you like that sharp citrus and green notes, this one is an excellent starting point, and one of the ones that I love. I think it smells so clean. You think springtime, summertime, you wear this. But it's going to stand out because it's not your run-of-the-mill designer fragrance that's out now, and it'll be different, but you're not going to spend a lot of money, and you'll get a great sense of what was basically the beginning of the 90s era. That's when this one came out, and they're still taking a lot of influence from the older 80s fragrances. But I love how green and fresh this one is, and it's definitely one that I use a lot, and it's a great starting point for getting an idea of the classics. All right, so the 8th fragrance on this list now, designer. Now I mentioned citrus green in the one before with Cerruti 1881, but to amp that up, to get an even sharper opening, more barbershop, even more classic, we have to go with Paco Rabanne Pour Homme. So I have a card here. I'm going to spray this on. And this one has such a distinct opening, the rosemary and the citrus notes, and then when it dries down, those are sharp, they're soapy, and then it's mixed this soapy oak moss, rosemary, and lemon. I love Paco Rabanne Pour Homme, and again, you can get big bottles. It's a little bit more expensive. This Paco Rabanne I would consider a designer. Some people might think that because it's their older fragrance, it's dropped into the cheap cheapy classic level, and same with a Zara Pour Homme or something like that. But you know, it's still a designer and one that makes expensive designer fragrances to this day. But this one, don't sleep on it. This one is it's like a Drakkar Noir in that sense. Like if you want to go get a moderately priced classic, get this one. If you want to know what a fougere is like, if you want to know what a barbershop soapy green scent with a sharp opening citrus masculine scent, you can't go wrong with Paco Rabanne Pour Homme. Okay, fragrance number 9. Now we're going to go back to the niche section, and this is from the House of Creed. This is Bois de Portugal. This is my very first Creed. I bought it because of the emphasis on how old school it smelled, and it's a complex fragrance. It is different from some of the designer classics that we looked at, some of the more inexpensive ones. There's a lot going on, and it's definitely, you know, on a different level when it comes to quality-wise. Not that any of these are poor quality, but the Creed really amps it up with this one. It is a green scent. There's this old school feel to it, but there's a sweetness to it as well. And you really just have to experience it. But if you want to spend some money on a really good niche fragrance that is going to give you an idea of what the classics were, but you definitely want something very high-end, Bois de Portugal is the best bet. I was going to pick Aventus actually, and I thought that, you know what, people might say that's not a classic, it's only 2010, but that's almost like a classic happening before our eyes, right? Like we all know in 20 years that one's going to be, Aventus was like the Drakkar, it was the Aqua de Jo, it was such a high seller, but I felt like I should pick something a little bit old. This was made, you know, way before that. But Bois de Portugal, Trees of Portugal, it's clean, it's definitely mature, but it's such a classy scent. And it's a distinct green. You know, again, the notes I don't have in front of me. Otherwise, I would see if I can describe any of them more for you. But it's one of my favorite Creeds, and definitely one that, again, you want something old school, but you're not sure where to start, and you want something high end. This is a great option. Okay, back to the inexpensive, cheapy classics. Fragrance number 10. Talk about soapy. This is Z14, sorry, by Halston. Halston Z14 is a extremely soapy scent. A lot of people say, I've never smelled Tom Ford's Italian Cypress, but that this, maybe they were inspired by it. You know, you spray this one and you get, it's like almost people say a burst of cinnamon, but I get like it's a green, but it's extremely soapy. Just think classic, you know, brown bar of soap, you know, right out of the shower, but, you know, darker, classic clean, not shower gels, but soap. Like that's what this is. Very masculine, perfect office scent, very inexpensive to get, very easy to get an idea of what the classics were like without spending a lot of money and all. I think this big 8-ounce bottle was probably 15 bucks. Like if you can believe it, you can get the gift set for 15 with the aftershave. It's a great starting point. And or if you don't get this one, you can get 1-12. That one to me, I think smells like a hair salon in a good way, like not in a feminine way, but it definitely has a masculine taste. They're just different, but this one you see more often. Let's put it that way too. So, you know, Halston Z14, very soapy, very green, very inoffensive, very light. You know, I've tried the vintage and it was okay. It was definitely stronger and greener, but I think at this point, you know, I prefer, or I'm okay with this one, which is why I bought the big bottle, so you can spray a lot of it. You're not going to spend a lot of money, but it's a great starting point. If you are looking for something inexpensive, but good quality, great for work, just a daily classic soapy and green scent, this is one that I think represents the classics very well. Okay, fragrance number 11 in the designer realm. You have to talk about a designer citrus aromatic, and that's why we have to mention Eau Sauvage. I was going to pick Armani Eau Pour Homme, but you know what? All I have are the vintage bottles, and I wanted to make sure that everything I talked about today is still available. Obviously, the Koros was the vintage bottle. But anyway, this one, super fresh, but it also has a green hint to it. We'll spray a little on my hand here. And yeah, it's very bright, but it's got some green notes in it as well. You know, I'd had the vintage comparison, and I honestly didn't think it was that much different. It didn't last any longer, and it was way more money. So the original Eau Sauvage, like again, if you want to get something like an Acqua di Parma citrus aromatic classic, has like a fougere style dry down, very mature, but you can wear it is in a casual sense in warm weather, spring and summer. Eau Sauvage is a perfect choice. And there's a lot of offerings from Dior, but this was their very first one, and it's still around, and it shows why. It's very high quality. I love just how bright it is, and it doesn't it doesn't perform like crazy, but again, it's fresh citrus aromatic. That's typically how they go, so don't really worry about that. But just appreciate the quality with this one and how clean it is, and just like spraying it on and just like when it dries down, there's a little bit of green hint to it. It's not just all lemon. It's not a big lemon. There's other notes in it that you get, and I think they blend really well, and a great starting point for someone who wants to have a fresh classic. Like if you're looking not something super heavy, but you want something more mature and you don't know where to go, and for designer classics, Eau Sauvage is a great starting point. Okay, fragrance number 12 on this list, now with the niche. And you could say that this one is just a high-end designer. You could say it's niche. I probably called it a designer before, right in the middle. But today it's gonna be a niche, okay? So that's Tom Ford's Beau de Jour. And this is, you're looking at around $200 for the 100 ml bottle. And again, I'm talking about retail level. And if you want something you can have dressed up, something strong, super long lasting, with a sharp lavender, woodsy, and like a really well done patchouli scent note, this one is an awesome starting point. And especially for Tom Fords in general, getting this before you go into like the private line. But this one really has an old school feel. 2020 is when this version was released. There was a private blend the year before. But when I wear this, it's very special. I've worn a lot of it. I really think that it's a very well done fragrance. A lot of people compare it to the Zeno by Davidoff, which everyone knows I don't like. And that's so poor quality compared to this. Like if that was what they based this off of, and I don't know, they really did a way better job. And you just smell like a gentleman. This is a great starting scent. Even if you just picked one, this would be one. And you wanted something high end, you wanted something from a well-known brand that's teeters on niche and or designer, Tom Ford's Beau de Jour would be an awesome starting point for a classic fragrance journey to begin with. Okay, everybody, that's going to wrap it up for me. That was my list of 12 fragrances for cheap, for designer, for niche to start your classic fragrance journey or collection with. So let me know in the comments section which classic fragrance was your first, or which one did you try that really just made you think, God, this is really nice. I want to explore more of these styles of fragrances or fragrances from this era or decade, etc. Let me know in the comments section. You guys know I always appreciate all of your interaction, and let me know which ones you might have picked instead too. Again, love to hear different opinions. If you haven't subscribed yet, make sure to go ahead and do so. Check out the Instagram page. Again, follow that at Sense of South Jersey. And then the links for my Mercari page and the 2 links for the shirt companies, Aurelius Apparel and Masudo, are all in the description. Check it out. And I thank you so much for hanging out with me today. And I will see you all in the next video. Take care.